Hello, and welcome to this free training on how to actually get your super picky eater to try new foods. So, I have something to share with you today that is going to completely transform your child's eating. Hi there, I am Jenny Friedman. I'm a picky eating specialist, pediatric dietitian, author, and mom. And I am absolutely thrilled that you are here with me today because what you are about to learn is honestly a total game changer. Now, I know that you've gotten advice from experts before, and I'm going to guess that nothing has helped as much as you hoped, or even at all. Maybe you've tried getting them to kiss a food, asking them to take a little tiny lick, like a little snake, making food look really cute, giving them choices, getting them involved, eating with them, waiting until they're hungry enough, and even hiding foods. And nothing worked, or at least not for very long, right? Listen, this is not because you did something wrong, and it is not because your child's eating cannot change. It's just because you haven't found the right thing yet. And that is about to change because what I am sharing with you today, it's different. And I'm different too. So I specialize in helping kids with really big eating issues, kids with super, super limited diets. I'm talking like 5 foods or even just a dozen foods, and kids who really, really struggle to try something new. Does that sound like your kiddo? If yes, good. I'm sorry that you're struggling, but I am happy that you are here with me today in the right place. So I know that when it comes to picky eating, you are often given simple, like one-step solutions, like just keep offering it or serve it with a dip. Are those things you've heard of or tried before? Probably. Listen, they can be great strategies. That's why you've heard them. They're great strategies for some kids, not for every kid. And strategies like those are not problem solvers. The truth is that these tips work when they are a part of the puzzle and not the whole solution. You see, eating is really complex, and it is particularly complex for your child. So you don't need tips and tricks, and you certainly don't need more of them if they haven't been working for you so far. What you need instead is a deep understanding of what is standing in your child's way from comfortably eating more foods and a practical approach to fix it. Now, I can't give you every single detail here today, but I can give you some incredibly valuable insight to how you can get your child on the path to eating new foods. This starts with a shift of how you view their eating struggles. So you are not responsible, but the solution does start for you. I want you to think about the last time you offered them a new food. Either they ate it or they didn't. They said, yes, I want this, or no way, get it off my plate, right? If that sounds familiar, I want you to raise your hand. I can't see you, but I'll know. You, just like everybody else out there, you are thinking about eating wrong. See, there's a whole world of really important steps that exist in between the dichotomies of eating and not eating. Your child is existing somewhere in that between land with their eating, and that is a good thing because that is something that you can work with. Before I show you an example, before I show you what I mean, I want to give you an example. So I want you to think about your child learning to read, and even if they haven't done this yet, you have a pretty good idea of what to expect this process to be like. So learning to read is not an instantaneous thing. They don't go directly from not knowing how to magically one day reading any book they pick up. No, instead, first they learn the letters, what they are. Then they learn the sounds that the letters make. Eventually, they begin to string these sounds and these letters together. They sound them out and they can master basic words. At first, their reading is really slow and choppy, but eventually they can read almost anything. And this process is exactly what you would expect for a kid who's learning how to read. You don't see them sounding out words as a failure or assume that stumbling means that they'll never read or that they're just a bad reader. No, you actually expect and encourage that process. And you actually help them with that process. You help them sound out the words and get there. I want you to do the same thing with their eating because it's actually a pretty similar process. I'm going to show you what I mean. And if you're anything like the families I work with, this visual and concept is going to completely blow your mind. So this is how I expect most kids to experience learning to eat new foods, not this. You see, instead of two outcomes, you actually have a bunch. I want to talk you through this, and we'll start at the most extreme end of the spectrum. Back here, a child cannot even tolerate being around a new food. Or maybe they're okay knowing that it exists, but they certainly don't want to talk about it. They don't even want to look at it. The next step up from that would be tolerating non-preferred food. They still don't want to touch it or even be that close to it, but they're okay if it's on the table with them. They're maybe even okay with it on their plate while they're eating something that they do enjoy. You've probably seen this happen in your child. Once that comfort level is there, that they can have it in their personal space, then the next step would be beginning to engage with the food by looking at it, talking about it, and maybe using something to touch it, like a fork. They're sort of testing the waters. Of course, this is not eating, but it's a lot closer to eating than not being able to even go near the food or look at it, right? Yes. So the next step is a big one, and it is taking exploration to the next level where they are directly engaging with the food. They may touch and poke, they hold it, they smell it. The more they do that, and the closer actually they get the food to their face, the better. This means that they are getting that much closer to eating. And the next step here is tasting. Now, this is actually different from eating. It's stuff like licking or maybe even biting and chewing the food, and maybe they actually swallow a teeny tiny bit. Once that is happening, eating, finally eating, that is not far behind. Now, as you can see, even eating has its own little baby steps. So now that you've seen this, hopefully you realize that not eating is really just not eating yet. And that trying new foods is actually a learning process. It is not a one and done thing. So when your child doesn't eat a new food on the first or the 10th or even the 99th time that you've offered it, it does not mean that they don't like it. It certainly does not mean that you should give up on them ever eating it. And it doesn't mean that there's no hope for them. I know it feels like that way sometimes. Instead, I want you to focus on just helping them move through the steps that we just saw, the same way that you would help them sound out a tricky word when they're learning how to read. So that makes sense, but what exactly does it look like in real life? Well, the next time your child doesn't eat something, I want you to notice what they are doing instead. Is it something that we have on this chart here? Whatever it is, whatever they're doing, whatever stage they're at, I want you to celebrate it. Seriously, acknowledge it and feel good about it. You see, celebration's actually super important because this eating stuff is hard. You know that already. You've been at it for a while, and I'm going to be honest, it's going to still continue to take you a while to turn it around. So, celebrating each mini milestone that your child achieves is going to help make the process easier. It's going to help you feel better. It's going to help you stick with it. And it's honestly, for those reasons, one of the most important things that you can do. You are celebrating because wherever they are, it's not eating. It's actually progress. It is a stepping stone on their journey to learning to eat and learning to enjoy new foods. Now, once you've celebrated, it's time to get back to work. It's not all fun and games here. So with your new perspective and a celebration under your belt, I want you to meet your child wherever they are with this particular food and help them get to the next phase, just like with reading. Help them sound it out until they can do it. I like to think of these as nudges, suggestions, as pushing the envelope. The goal is not to soar all the way to eating or try to push them to that every single time. Instead, it's to take incremental steps that help your child build their ability and confidence. And that's it. That's how you help them actually try new things. As I said, of course, there is more that you can do. There's more pieces to this puzzle. But knowing this is really what I've seen to be such a game changer. So I hope that you are feeling empowered and excited. And before you go, I just want to do a quick recap. And I want to give you one more thing to really take this training to the next level. So to recap, extreme picky eaters do not go from meeting a new food to trying a new food. There are many steps in between. And when you acknowledge these steps and when you follow them as a pathway, both you and your child are going to have a much easier and much more successful time with them trying new foods. So now that you know all of that, hopefully you are feeling excited and ready to go. And if that's you, and hey, even if it's not, even if you are one who's cautiously optimistic or straight up skeptical, which is fine, I still have a challenge for you. In the next 24 hours, I want you to simply offer your child a new food. Just serve it to them, nothing more. You're not even trying to get them to eat. I just want you to feel what it's like to offer them something new, especially if it's been a while, and especially now that you have this new perspective. I will be back in your inbox tomorrow with some super helpful, really concrete tips to make introducing new foods easier and more effective that will help your child move up the steps to eating. So keep an eye in your inbox, add me to your favorites, and get ready for some exciting stuff to come.